and take one thing out. On 7.0, department reports, it'd be C1, city attorney, add fill gas agreement. And then under F, online burning permits, Jack wants to pull that until the work meeting in December, so we'll pull that. And then the last one is G2, supplementary bill list.
Okay. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Randy seconds. Mr. Nelson, can you take roll call vote, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Councilmember Ronning.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance.
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel.
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye, and that motion passes. On to presentations, delinquent utility bills public hearing. Jack.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The East Bethel Code of Ordinances, Chapter 74, Section 74, 126B provides for the collection of delinquent accounts through the property tax assessments. This ordinance provides the opportunity for property owners that are delinquent in payments to the city for utility services to come before the city council to state any objections. This public hearing that's scheduled for tonight meets those requirements of the ordinance. The public hearing must be conducted before the final certification of delinquent amounts is forwarded to the county for collection with property taxes. Council set November 9th, 2020 as the public hearing date for individuals wishing to object to the delinquent charges being collected through the assessment process. All affected property owners were notified via U.S. mail and were instructed to contact city staff if they intended to speak before the city council. No affected property owners contacted staff. The final list with delinquent charges must be provided to the county auditor no later than November 30th, 2020. Council is requested to open the public hearing for those affected property owners. None of those notified responded to the opportunity to speak. At this time, council will be requested to open and close the public hearing.
With that, we'll open the public hearing for the delinquent utility billings. Jack, I think you mentioned there was no one that contacted City Hall.
That's correct.
And I see there's no one else on the meeting. So with that, there are no comments and we'll close the public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, council is requested to approve Resolution 2020-66, final certification of delinquent utility charges for collection with 2021 property tax.
Is there a motion to this resolution?
I'll make the motion to for the approval of resolution number 2020-66. Final certification of delinquent charges for collection with 2021 property taxes.
Second.
Suzanne seconds. Discussion.
I have a question. Has anybody explained why they're delinquent?
No, they haven't. We have heard no comments from anyone, Suzanne. There was one party that has come in since the last meeting and paid their bill. We do expect a few others probably to come in and pay before we send this off to the county. There are 3 or 4 or 5 of those owners who are on this list almost every year, and this is a means through which they essentially pay their water bills.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other comments? Seeing none. Mr. Nelson, could you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Councilmember Ronning.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance.
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel.
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye, and that motion passes. Second item presentation tonight is a potentially dangerous dog hearing involving property at 19443 East Front Boulevard Northeast. Both the parties in this matter are neighbors of mine, so I am going to step away from the discussion and will be abstaining from voting as well. And I'll ask that Acting Mayor Plaisance take over.
Very good, sir. Potentially dangerous dog hearing, Jack.
Thank you, Randy. The requested action tonight is determined by hearing if a potential dangerous dog determination issued by the city administrator to Michael and Michelle Warsco should be maintained, modified, or removed. The request for the hearing relates to a dog attack incident that occurred on September 3rd, 2020. The Anoka County Sheriff's Office reported that a dog owned by Mr. and Mrs. Warsco bit two dogs belonging to Lucille Ebling and Richard Landborg on private property in the vicinity of 19443 East Front Boulevard. The two dogs owned by Mrs. Ebling were taken to a veterinarian and due to the extent of their injuries were euthanized. Since the Warsco's dog bit a domestic animal as reported by the investigating officer, a potentially dangerous dog notice was issued relating to this incident. The incident reports are exhibited as attachment 1 and 2 provide details in this matter for council. The Warsco dog was not licensed at the time of incident, but was licensed on October 16, 2020. The dog was current on its rabies vaccination. A potentially dangerous dog means any dog that, when unprovoked, inflicts bites on a human or domestic animal on public or private property, when unprovoked, chases or approaches a person, including a person on a bicycle, on the street, sidewalks, or any public or private property other than the dog owner's property in an apparent attitude of attack, or has a known propensity, tendency, or disposition to attack unprovoked, causing injury or otherwise threatening the safety of humans or domestic animals. The owner has submitted a written request to appeal the decision of the potentially dangerous dog declaration. Pursuant to City Code, Chapter 10, Article 2, Dogs, Section 1072, an animal owner is allowed to contest this determination. The council, pursuant to Section 1072, has several options regarding this matter. They can conduct the hearing allowing the owner to present reasons why the potentially dangerous dog determination should be removed. If the potentially dangerous dog determination is sustained, make a determination, identify the action to be taken, which could be dispose of the animal or allow the owners to keep the animal with restrictions. The potential dangerous dog determination is not sustained, make a determination that the animal is to be released without further action from the city council. Staff recommends that city council hold the hearing relating to the potentially dangerous dog determination and issue a decision regarding this incident pursuant to City Code, Chapter 10, Animals, Article 2, Dogs, Section 3, and any requirements for keeping the dog should the incident be maintained or modified.
With that, I will go ahead and open the dangerous dog hearing. Jack, who do we have this evening who wants to speak on this issue?
We have the dog's owner, Mr. and Mrs. Michael Warsco, and the plaintiff on this issue, Mrs. Lucy Ebling, whose two dogs were bitten by the Warsco's dog.
Very good. With that, I think we should hear from the plaintiff, Lucille Ebling, first, if that's okay.
I unmuted. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Do you want me to say what happened, or I have to say that Michael tried to tell me that his dog had, what do you call it, a fence, an underground fence, and that he was not out of his yard, or she was not out of her yard. But after I left there and I spoke with Lance Richard, he told me that Michael had told him that fence wasn't working. I also spoke with the next door neighbor, April, whose dog was also attacked a year ago by the same dog. And she told me the same thing, that his fence was not working. Michael tried to tell me that the dogs were in his yard. I don't believe that to be true, because where we found Coda, the little 4-pound dog, first of all, that dog wouldn't bark at anybody. Where we found her was about less than 6 feet from our property line, by a porch, all bloody, and there's no way she could have walked as far as his house, his yard, to that spot. she wasn't moving, couldn't move. So what I feel happened was the dog went after her, and then the brown, my Coco, which was a 7-pound one, went after the dog for attacking his sister, and then she attacked him. And their bites were so deep, and the vet said he couldn't save them. That's what I
Very
feel
good.
happened.
Very good. Is that all that you have to say on that topic?
Lance? I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I feel there wasn't complete truth. I just feel that where my dogs were, they weren't too far from my house. It wasn't in his yard. And I really wish he would have paid the vet bill. That was over $300. I don't think the dog is safe because just recently, right after that, it chased a couple kids on their bikes down the road. And like I said, I know he attacked the neighbor's dog last year, and they want to leave the area. And the dogs are barking constantly, and I think there's 5 of them there. So
Okay. At this time, maybe we should hear from the Warstros.
Hi, this is Michelle. I just wanted to kind of make sure I heard everything correctly. Can I kind of summarize what I heard Lucy say?
From your understanding, I will accept that.
Yeah, just from my understanding, because I tried to write notes, but I couldn't keep up. Unmute, please. Thanks. So she was saying that, so I don't know why it keeps doing that. She said that she talked to April and that her dog fence wasn't working, and that Lance had told, or Mike had told Lance the same thing. And then I heard her say that she feels our dog left the yard and attacked her Coda, her 4-pound dog, because it was in the neighbor's yard. And that she feels Coco went to go defend Coda, and then that's when our dog attacked. And she's asked us to pay the vet bill. And she's also saying that Ruby is the one that a couple days later chased kids on a bike. And I'm unaware of that. So I guess if that's going to be an issue, I'd like to see or hear more of that. And that she's saying that our dog left the yard, but she didn't see it. She's just supposing that that's what happened. Does that sound like kind of what I'm hearing?
Well, we're just getting your understanding.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm sorry, we were just hearing what your understanding was of what Ms. Ebling said.
Okay,
So-
I just wanted to make sure with Lucy that that's what I heard.
Okay.
Okay.
So
All
what
right.
is your understanding of the incident?
So my understanding of the incident is that my daughter called my husband and said that Ruby had Coco in our yard and was upset, went down and got her. Ruby let Coco go and he ran off. She said she saw blood. Mike said he was on his way home and he called me right away. I called Kate and was talking to her. She was very upset and sobbing the whole time I came home. And I asked her what happened. And she said that she had let Ruby out in our yard with the collar on for the fence. And when she saw Ruby and Coco, they were in our yard. She was very upset about this and just kind of sobbing the whole time and didn't want to talk about it. So asking her again, I said, was Ruby with her collar on? Yes, she was. Was she in our yard? Yes, she was. Was Coco in our yard? Yes, he was. At no point in time until later did we see that Coda was part of this at all. Okay? In the meantime, well, so then basically what happened was, is I came home and I started asking Kate again, kind of what happened. Mike apparently had talked to Lance on his way home. He called Lance and said, hey, look for your dogs because they were in our yard, or look for Coco. I guess we didn't know about Coda. Look for Coco. They were in our yard. He was in our yard and Ruby apparently attacked him. And so Lance had to be notified of this. What else do you want to talk about right now? Do you have anything you want to add? I'm going to let Mike add some stuff, but then I also have other things that we have done since then to protect our dogs from other dogs coming into our yard. And we put up a physical chain link fence. And I did apply for the permit for that. So you should have that on record. I did that same day call the vet because I was concerned about kind of what was going on and, you know, if there's something more that I should do with Ruby. And she obviously was concerned, as we were, but she said that it's not typical of, I mean, anything that she's seen of her dog. I mean, I can't really speak to what she said, but I asked if I should be taking her in, if she should be tested, if she should be checked out. And, you know, because this is the first incident, she just basically said, keep an eye on her. You know, dogs get very territorial. And she obviously feels like if we thought that there was something more to it, that we should bring her in. And we decided at that point in time that we were going to keep an eye on Ruby and we were going to put in a physical fence. We also purchased a basket muzzle, which she will wear when she's outside. And obviously, let's see here, I don't know, but those are the things that we've done in place because we are concerned about this incident. I mean, this is the first time this has happened with Ruby. I've never seen her chasing kids down the street on bikes because if she's outside, I'm with her. And the fence has been put up for how many, well, like 3 weeks now, or I guess I don't remember the date that we put it in, but it's been up for a while and she has not been outside that fence since. So I don't know. I mean, I think Mike submitted some pictures and some other statements too. So I don't know if those were dispersed to the council.
We did receive those pictures. So,
Did you understand what was it explained on what that picture was of?
I did look at the picture that you had sent in. My
Yes.
concern about the pictures that you sent in were that they did not match the dog or dogs that were part of this incident.
Right.
There was a brown dog and a white dog that were
Right.
part of this incident. And
Right.
my basic concern is that the dog that was shown in the pictures that you sent was a white dog with black markings. So I'm
So
wondering
Point,
what
just tell them what your
relevance
point
that
was.
has for this particular incident.
the point of that picture is that is their third dog. And when I took that picture of their dog was in our yard 11 days after this. So to me, that's showing that they have a tendency that their dogs do come into our yard and that dog was in our yard clearly on that day. If that makes sense.
Can I say something?
You're just gonna cry there, stop it.
Yes.
Can I speak up? Okay. As far as the dog or Coco being in their yard, what I had told Mike, what I feel happened was where Coda was. She was in April's yard, where we found her was like less than 6 feet from our property line. She was by the porch, all bloody. What I feel happened was Coco saw her attack the dog and went after Ruby. And that could be why, or how he ended up in the yard, yes. As far as the black and white one being in your yard, she has been looking for Coco and Coda since they died, because that was her baby. She's the mother of those dogs. And she's old. She's 14, 15 years old. So she's kind of senile. So she, like I said, she's looking for her kids. And she has been moping around ever since. She keeps looking in that area. And like I said, I think she's looking for her kids.
All right, very good.
And
Can I-
Lance just told me he was outside. He saw Ruby. Was it both the dogs or just Ruby? Lance.
Two of them, and there was two big ones and a puppy sitting out. They ran after a couple kids on bicycles. I went down and closed off the road.
I'm sorry, we're breaking up a little bit here. Can
Okay.
can we
Okay.
just have one person
He-
talking here at once, or?
Okay.
A Ruby?
Okay. He said Michelle was outside with the dogs, and it was the two big dogs and a puppy. And they ran after kids down the closed, was it the closed
Oh,
property?
yeah.
I don't know, road. And she saw it. She was there. And that was like a week or two after they were attacked.
Okay, so I think we need to stick to the relevance of the incident itself.
I think
So
I have,
was there a witness to this attack?
yeah, our daughter saw our dog in our yard on the lakeside with Coco and in our yard.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna ask council at this point if they have any questions for either party at this time for clarification.
I have, Tom. Is the daughter available to describe what she saw?
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
he is.
I have a question too. Is your fence working? Can you prove your fence is working or not? Because I'm kind of confused about the electronic fence. I know how dogs are trained to use that. Once they're trained, that fence has to be out for a while before a dog will try to go over it because they're really afraid of it. So I'm just wondering, is it working? Has it been working? Because that's a really important fact to know.
It is not working now because when the fence, when our physical fence went up, that interrupted that signal. So
One of the post holes cut the line on the
there are
side.
numerous post holes, we're not sure, but it's where we put the fence up, that's where the electronic fence was or is currently.
But when the dogs, when Ruby and Max had their collars on, they don't even go within 5 feet of the property line because they're used to it triggering whatever the sensor is for that particular fence. So, I mean, we have runs that are, well, that were anyway, because they don't go out in the main yard anymore. But they don't go near the property line because of the underground fencing.
Thank you.
Okay, did you want to hear from Kate?
I think that was Tom's request that he would prefer to hear directly from the witness of the actual event.
All right, so this is Kate. And she's 12, and this is very difficult for her, so.
Hello, Kate. My name's Tom. I asked if we could speak with you and thank you. If you're
Okay,
able
just
to-
tell them what you saw, sweetie.
If you're able
Okay.
to speak,
Come on, baby. It's okay. I got you. Come on, just tell him. So you let Ruby out.
Yeah, and when I looked out back, I saw Ruby had a dog in her mouth that was in our yard.
Where was Ruby in our yard?
She had to at least be, I would say at least 10 feet within the property line in her yard. And I went out there and I yelled at her. She dropped the dog. I brought her in.
And
And
what happened to the other dog?
I didn't see anything what the other dog did. I just took Ruby up front. And then that's when I called my father.
May I ask, you let Ruby out and then you saw this event sometime later. You have
Yeah,
any guess how much time was in between there?
it wasn't long.
Like how many minutes? 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
It was probably like 7, 8 minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Did you have the underground fencing collar on Ruby?
Yeah,
Or are you aware of any time that she had the collar on and went through the fence?
I don't know if she did go through the fence.
Well, you haven't seen her go through the fence.
Yeah, I haven't seen her go through the fence ever. And she had her collar on the whole time between the time I took her out and the time I took her in.
Okay.
Well, I would like to thank you for your
Yeah.
comments. I know that it's a very difficult thing to do, and we appreciate your willingness to make comments on this particular issue. So thank you very much.
We certainly do. I appreciate your response very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have another question. This is regarding the small dogs that got hurt. I've heard through reading everything that there has been a couple of times where those small dogs have been allowed to roam and to not just the Peterson's property, but other properties around the area. Can anybody tell me if that's a common thing or if it's true, or did I read it wrong? I'd like to know that too, because it's required to keep your dogs in your yard at all times, no matter what.
I've seen the dogs in our backyard, our front yard, and in the streets.
In fact, you've had to walk them home.
Yeah, I've walked them home a couple times.
And that picture that I sent you was showing that their other dog was still coming into our yard even after this incident. And, they weren't watching the dog. And it was clearly in our yard using the restroom and stuff like that. And that was why I sent that picture in. And that was 11 days after this incident. And that was their other dog. And to me, that was common. And in fact, yesterday I have a picture, which I didn't submit, of the dog being in the neighbor's yard while I was mowing. And when I came around, then when the dog saw me with the lawn tractor, it started going back, but clearly that dog was in the neighbor's yard yesterday. The current dog that they still have.
Tim, do you have any questions for either party?
I'd like to ask Mike and Michelle here, on these two reports, I got two different things. One says a Labradoodle, the other one says a standard poodle. Is it a Labradoodle?
I only have one report, and that was on our poodle, Ruby. So I'm not sure what the Labradoodle report is.
The police report says a Labradoodle, but then the vet report says standard poodle. That's why I'm just trying to.
Oh, okay.
It's the same dog.
No, it was our standard poodle, Ruby.
Okay,
The female.
Okay, because the police report's got Labradoodle in here. That's why I was wondering.
Well, yeah, I don't know. They didn't talk to us. You know what I mean, about, well, I don't know. Did he ask you what
I
type
don't,
of dog it was?
no, I don't have that other report. I just
Okay.
have the report.
No, I was just curious. I mean, they got two different things here. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
And I got one for Jack. Jack, I was reading the first police report. It says that the Eberlings stated that Ruby has attacked other dogs in the area. Have we got any complaints?
Tim, we have received no other complaints on this dog.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or concerns? Very well, then at this point, we will close the hearing and I will entertain a motion at this point. Does anybody have a motion to put on the table?
This is a tough one. Due to the circumstances. And I know we have to have a motion before we have discussion.
That is usually standard, that there is a motion before there is discussion.
Right, well, that's.
Or you can make a motion for discussion only at this point.
I need discussion on.
Sirs, and ma'am, is it possible for me to add something else?
We did already close the public hearing, but if we have another question that is put your way, we will certainly allow you to answer that question.
Okay.
But at this point, we are now going into the motion period of this discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Tom, did you have a motion at this point?
Yeah, I move to hold discussion on this prior to action.
Very well. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Chris, could you go ahead and take a roll call, please?
Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Councilmember Ronan.
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance.
Aye. Very good. Tom, did you have anything that you had in particular you would like to discuss?
Yes, it's food for thought consideration. And we do, it may be rare, but we have a direct witness to this event. And what makes it particularly difficult is the damage that was done to the two. And what provoked it. It kind of, it does, from what the direct witness, I'm sorry, I forgot what your daughter's name was.
Her name is Kate.
Kate? Thank you. From what Kate, said she saw and did, it really comes across that the unfortunate animals were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And there's nobody to contradict what she saw. Yeah, that's most of it, but we'll have some more comments.
I do. My deepest sympathies go to the Ebeling family. I know losing a pet, it's like losing a family member. It is, especially in such a tragic fashion. That being said, I know how territorial dogs are. We've always had dogs, and we still get dogs in our yard, and our dog goes nuts after them. But we do try to watch our dogs. We have an electronic fence, and I know exactly how well they work and how long it takes for a dog to venture over them. It can be weeks to months after they quit working. So because they're trained, it's such a good training for them. And I think my opinion is that if your dogs are roaming, uh, they could have just as easily been hit by cars. All kinds of things could have happened to them by not keeping them on your property. And I don't think we can hold the Petersons accountable if it happened in their yard, because dogs are territorial. And I don't think poodles are dogs that are typically a dangerous form of a dog. So that's my comments.
Let's see, one thing that we haven't asked or hasn't been offered yet, does I apologize about the name, does the owner that lost the animals have a fence of any kind in their yard? Any kind of a restraining?
Ms. Ebling, I think that's a question for you.
We do our best to keep them in our yard, but they had gone, like I said, they were in April's yard, which is not even 6 feet from our yard. That's where Coda was. And like I said, she couldn't have walked from their yard to there because she wasn't moving. She was a very timid dog. If something approached her, she would have crouched down. So she wouldn't have been in their yard. As far as Coco being in the yard, I could see Ruby picking him up, shaking him, and carrying him to her yard. Or I could see Coco going after her for attacking his sister, like I said. As far as the black and white dog goes, like I said, she's been looking for her kids. She's also deaf, so she can't hear. So we do our best to keep her in the yard. She's every time she goes out, she looks in that area for her kids because they were her buddies for over 10 years.
In accordance with the ordinance, if there's a dangerous dog or a dog potentially considered dangerous, what the remedies are to direct restraining. They've done the cyclone fence, chain link fence, and I forget what they called it, some kind of a muzzle. Based on
That's correct, Councilmember Ronan and council members. As far as the ordinance is concerned, there's a list of around 9 options. The council wouldn't have to enact all the options, but they could enact some of the options if the dog was determined or upheld, in this case, to be potentially dangerous. One of them is to the owner shall provide and maintain an enclosure, which is securely defined or confined indoors, or a locked pen that would be suitable to keep the dog from escaping. Posting can be required that there's a potentially dangerous dog on the premises. The dog may need to be tagged as potentially dangerous. Proof of liability insurance to the amount of $300,000. Muzzling the dog if it's outside of its enclosure, registering it with the city. Additionally, pursuant to state statute, a potentially dangerous dog has to be microchipped. So those would be some of the requirements that the council could enact if the dog was determined to be upheld as potentially dangerous.
what we typically do is what can be done or is done as far as restraining the animal, so that this is the first one I've heard that there's a mortality of the animals. But there's been one hearing where we had a muzzle added, and otherwise it's invisible fence, chain link fence, some sort of restraining thing that the animal can't get through. We don't know if it can jump over the fence. That's a question, I guess, to ask. But based on what we've heard so far and from the direct witness, and she was credible, I believe, that I would call it a dangerous dog, but the remedies have been put in place by the owners already. The typical remedies.
In this, Councilmember Ronnie and council members, this would be your opportunity to enforce those remedies. I know we've had some testimony about what the remedies could be, but this is really the city's opportunity to provide a written order saying that in order to maintain the dog, the following practices need to be in place and for as long as the dog is determined to be potentially dangerous. So right now, if the owners have taken some of these measures, there's no enforcement mechanism for them. The only enforcement mechanism would be a council determination that, for example, the dog has to be muzzled and in an enclosure meeting the terms of city ordinance.
Jack, are you thinking something?
Well, I'm thinking the first thing we need to do is determine the notification and what the hearing's for, is to determine if this notification of a potentially dangerous dog is to be sustained, modified, or removed. And upon that, as our city attorney stated, then describe what enforcement measures are necessary. If the order is sustained or modified, if it's removed, there are no necessary things that need to be done. At least that's the way I look at it.
Okay, and considering from what I would think is somewhat of a legal consideration of this, there's a direct witness that said that she saw the animals, at least one of them for certain, in their yard, in the dog's mouth, and injured. She didn't, I don't believe she said what if the other one was there or if the other one went home or what might have happened. And we don't have anything to contradict that. The animal was not out of its yard, according to the witness. So it's an unfortunate thing, but as far as meeting all the criteria, there's an awful lot missing as far as the dangerous dog.
Jack, what did? Oh,
I'm sorry, go ahead. No, quite all right. Go ahead, Suzanne.
Sorry. Jack, my question is, what would we modify it to? I don't understand that part because I understand sustain or remove, but I'm not sure what you mean by modify.
I'm speaking to what the ordinance addresses that to, and to be perfectly honest with you, Suzanne, I would have to look up or request that the city attorney give us some opinion on what the modifications could be. I agree, it's probably either or, it's sustain or remove, unless our city attorney has a different interpretation of that.
Thank you, Jack, and council members. I agree with what the city administrator said regarding sort of the order of business here. The first being to determine whether or not it's a potentially dangerous dog, and if that's determined, that's upheld, then what are some of the provisions that the city would put in place? With regard to modification, Councilmember Urkel, I don't see really an option for modification. I think perhaps if a dog was determined to be dangerous and was modified to potentially dangerous, that might be a modification. In this case, it could be modified that the council could determine this dog is dangerous and not potentially dangerous, but there's no in between a dog that's classified potentially dangerous and a dog that's, just a dog that doesn't have any classifications on it. Potentially dangerous dog is a precursor to a dog being determined, depending on future events, that it's dangerous. It's a lower level categorization according to our ordinance and state statute, and it doesn't call for necessarily the destruction of the dog or anything like that, whereas a dangerous dog classification can lead to that. What it is it's a determination that the requirements of the ordinance have been met and that the city shall, it's a requirement then that the city impose some of the measures laid out in ordinance to ensure that the potentially dangerous dog isn't a risk to the public.
Tim, do you have any concerns?
No, I'm like Tom. I think this is a hard one. I know the Petersons, it looks like they're trying to do everything they can with the fence and things like that. It's just a tough one. That's what I'm trying to decide right now.
Very good. So, I think you're all very correct. I mean, this is a difficult one for a number of reasons. Number one is this was an animal versus animal attack that happened. I think my biggest concern is that a small dog is not that much smaller than a young kid, and so therefore, since there was this attack that led to euthanizing the other two dogs, that if this was a child, that would be a pretty scary thing. And I'm not saying that would happen in this case with this particular dog, but it is concerning. And there is the definition when unprovoked inflicts bites on human or domestic animals on public or private property. So it's really saying no matter where this happens, that it could be defined as a potentially dangerous dog. The only word that gives me pause is the part that says unprovoked. And unfortunately, while I did appreciate the testimony of everyone involved, I don't think that anybody saw the initial attack that happened. So we have no idea whether, the dogs that where they were actually started this incident, how much there was interaction to be considered provoked or unprovoked. But I do think that we should be making sure that we are making some determinations here to reduce the risk. I mean, again, I think that it is a tragedy of what happened here. But I think that I would like to make a motion to sustain the dangerous dog with the requirements being that the owner provide and maintain a proper enclosure for the potentially dangerous dog as defined in sections 1070. It sounds to me like the owners are already doing that at this point. The reason why I would like to make that motion in this case is because we should go and verify that is actually being done. The other thing is that the dog should be licensed by the city, and that the owner should allow compliance officials on the property to conduct a site inspection. So my motion is for sustaining the dangerous dog, and that provisions 1 or under section 1075, potentially dangerous dogs under A requirements, that 1, 7, and 8 be sustained. Is there a second? Hearing none, that motion fails.
I'm going to make a motion as well that we do not declare dangerous dog. However, to add, Jack, is there some way to incorporate something that the dog there'll be some kind of an annual review or something of what the vet activities are, there's no history no history presented of anything of this type. Yeah, I appreciate everything Randy said, but absent there's no propensity, there's no record of any kind that's presented. And the direct witness comments lead me to believe that as tragic as things are, we don't have a basis to declare a dangerous dog. There's injuries there, and provoked, unprovoked, that's somewhat of an nebulous term in some of these cases. Is provoked entering some yard? Is provoked barking and go after them? There's so many things. I'm a believer that as tragic as things are, as I say, we do not declare a dangerous dog designation. However, we would like to maintain some kind of contact to verify that the necessary conditions are in place on at least an annual basis. Any comments about that?
I think, Tom, that, yeah, I think, Tom, that the first thing is, you know, we have to either determine to sustain or to determine that the animal is to be released, that we are going to vacate the dangerous dog. And Chris, can you verify that for me? And or how can we even put some kind of a annual check on this without putting some kind of tag on this particular animal?
Councilmember Plaisance and council members, I agree with what was just said. You know, apart from basic licensure requirements, the only real regulations or requirements that can be imposed, including an annual review, would occur if the dog was upheld as potentially dangerous. If the dog is not upheld as potentially dangerous and released, apart from basic city licensure requirements, there's no opportunity to impose any conditions.
And then I'll withdraw my motion and move that the dangerous dog designation be denied.
I'll second that. I'll second that.
Suzanne seconds. Any discussion?
One caveat, I guess. There's one day something happened. What's the age of the animal? What's
Ruby is three right now. Yeah.
3, and you're in a close neighborhood. There's no record. We have direct witness testimony, and that's the basis for my motion.
Any other discussion? Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Councilmember Plaisance and Councilmember Ronning, just as a point of clarification, if I may, the dog was determined to be a potentially dangerous dog, not a dangerous dog. So if the intent is to have the dog not be the determination that the dog is a potentially dangerous dog, to not uphold that, I would say the motion should be to not uphold the potentially dangerous dog determination.
I thought I said to remove the potentially dangerous dog charge and not be upheld.
And just a point of clarification on that, I might have misheard. I thought, Councilmember, you said dangerous dog determination.
The charge before us tonight is withdrawn. That's my motion. Suzanne, is that your second?
Okay, I'll second that one.
Very good. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I think we should go to a roll call vote. Chris, could you do the call, please?
Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Councilmember Ronnie.
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance.
Nay. That motion passes. With the completion of that, I will pass the chair back to Mayor Voss. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Randy. On to our consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt tonight's consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion made second. I'd like to pull item B as in boy. Is there any discussion to the motion? Hearing none. Mr. Nelson, could you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Ronning,
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel,
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye, and that motion passes. Reason why I pulled item B is the meeting minutes for the special meeting. I was not in attendance. So I have no change to it. I just need a motion separate on that.
In light of the mayor's comment, move for approval of item B, noting his action. Is that acceptable, Steve?
We need a motion on item B. That's what we need.
I'll make a motion to accept item B on this consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have motion made second. Discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Nelson, could you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Ronning,
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel,
Aye.
And Mayor Voss abstains. Okay, that motion passes. On to new business. Jack.
At this time, we'll turn this presentation over to Mrs. Hanson, our Community Development Director.
Good evening, everyone. So tonight, we have the preliminary plat for Whispering Aspen Second Edition. The applicant is Firebird Land LLC. So Firebird Land submitted the preliminary plat for Whispering Aspen Second Edition, which is located northwest of Highway 65 and 241st Avenue. This plat contains 6 residential lots and a cul-de-sac. So Whispering Aspen was originally approved as a planned unit development back in 2004. At that time, a ghost plat was submitted as well. The ghost plat does show outlot F as a cul-de-sac with 6 lots. Therefore, the preliminary plat for the second edition does coincide with the ghost plat that was looked at that time back in 2004. The 6 lots that are being proposed do coincide as well with lot requirements for that PUD. And then for park dedication, as stated in the amended and reinstated purchase agreement, which was dated January 8th of 2004 between the City of East Bethel and Firebird Land. Park dedication fees shall not be required of the purchaser in the planning process, since parks are already included in the project. Therefore, there will be no park dedication fees collected for the second edition. As for the street, the preliminary plat requires the addition of a cul-de-sac, as stated in the amended and reinstated purchase agreement dated January 8th of 2004. Thank you, Jack. The City of East Bethel and Firebird Lane, that agreement states the second phase of this development will maintain street width and other similar design concepts to current existing streets in this phase. So city staff did review this. City Public Works Manager had concerns regarding the snow removal and the management on the cul-de-sac. It's not the size of the cul-de-sac. However, there's a number of driveways on the cul-de-sac. There's 6 of them, which limits room for snow storage. Fire Chief Mark Deshar has expressed concern relating the access for emergency equipment. If in the event the center of the cul-de-sac is used for snow storage, the fire chief does acknowledge the snow removal could be problematic if not removed as soon as possible. And that would incumbent on the city to assure that the removal of any piles of snow in the cul-de-sac be removed in a timely manner, so the snow will not be stored in the cul-de-sac. As a result, in addition of many more than normal snow plowed across the entrance. Typical urban cul-de-sacs have 3 lots fronting onto them. leaving more room for snow storage. East Bethel City Code does not have requirements for cul-de-sac. Additionally, the original purchase agreement has standards for lots located on streets, but no standards for lots located on a cul-de-sac. So city staff does request that council considers the challenges when approving cul-de-sacs in future phases of this development. According to the Ghost Plat, as you can see that Jack put up here on the screen, the development could potentially have 2 additional cul-de-sacs. Again, city staff reviewed the plat. The city engineering and city staff comments dated on September 22nd are attached for your review, which includes the response from the developer's engineer. And it's just, I believe it was Friday, I received a letter from the city engineer. He completed review number 2, and pretty much all the conditions have been taken care of. There's just a few remaining items. However, the items, they aren't going to affect the layout of the preliminary plat. But again, all comments must be satisfactorily addressed prior to the release of any of the final plat for filing with the county. So the public hearing was held on October 27th at the Planning Commission. There were no public comments and no discussion among the commissioners that pertained to this plat. The commission recommended approval of the plat with an additional condition to ensure the fire department reviewed the plat and commented on the potential snow pile and safety access during the winter months. Vote was 5 yes, 1 abstain, and 1 no. So at this time, Planning Commission does recommend that the City Council to approve the preliminary plat with the conditions set forth in the attached resolution.
Okay, thank you. Council, is there a motion on this item tonight?
Move for approval of the plat as described.
We have. Just pausing for a second here. There's actually a resolution that's part of our packet. Tom, if you want to reference that.
Move for approval of resolution 2020-67, approving the preliminary plat of Whispering Aspen Second Edition. The property legally described as Whispering Aspen Outlet F.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Suzanne seconds. Discussion.
I got a couple questions here, Steve. Under park dedications, I want to know what park. Since parks are already included in this project, what park?
Tim, I'm assuming that refers to the community center building, the basketball courts and the tennis courts that were there as part of this purchase agreement back in 2004.
Okay, thanks. Then my second one is, it says it's, lot 1 shows a rear elevation sloping towards the house. Has that been fixed or is it gonna be fixed?
That has been fixed.
Okay.
Okay,
So-
okay.
I have a question. So the parks that park dedication is for stuff that's already exists and they're not adding anything new for this huge development that's to include all the other buildings that are already there?
That is
Doesn't seem right.
Suzanne, the way that the agreement was between the developer and the city of East Bethel is that there would be no more park dedication collected through this entire development as it develops.
My other question is this company in good standing financially with the city? Because I read all that stuff on social media and I'm just wondering if, I don't know if that's true or not. So I'm wondering if they are in good standing.
Jack, could you respond to that?
the answer to that question is yes.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments, discussion? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Nelson, can you take a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Ronning,
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel,
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye, and that motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council.
On to department reports.
Item
City up first.
Item 7G1, CARES Business Grants Awards. The East Bethel City Council approved a business relief grant program at their September 14th.
Can I stop you, Jack? We skipped an item. 7C1 is the feral gas settlement agreement.
I apologize.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. As the council recalls, this has been a process on obtaining the lot from Feral Gas. At our last session, addressing this topic, the council authorized entering a purchase and settlement agreement on the property. This is a property that we had started a condemnation proceeding on earlier in the year. I'll tell you, Feral Gas has been basically tough to get a hold of, which is why this has taken so long. But we do have a settlement agreement that's been approved by Feral Gas, which authorizes the city to purchase the 2 lots in question for the sum of $256,600. So that would be the purchase price for these lots. And the city has already obtained possession of them and can begin work on them basically whenever the project's ready to be worked. But this is the final settlement agreement here, which will be filed with the court and conclude the condemnation proceeding. And with that, I'll answer any questions the council may have.
So Chris, are you asking us to approve the settlement agreement tonight for signature?
Approve the settlement agreement for signature, and then we will get it filed with the court.
Okay. So the council, is there a motion on this item tonight?
I'll make a motion to, is there a resolution number? Oops, I don't have the page up. To approve the feral gas agreement. Is that good enough?
Sufficient.
Okay.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion made in second, discussion.
I'm fine with it.
I'm sorry, Suzanne?
I just said I'm fine with it. I'll be glad to have this over.
Chris, I forgot exactly where it was, and I should have wrote it down, but there was a statement that they should have the property cleared by October 31st.
And that's, Mayor Voss and council members, that's been accomplished.
Okay. So the only thing remaining is the building and fencing.
The building itself, any piping that might exist that's on site, but the major tanks have been removed, the minor tanks have been removed, and the city administrators confirmed that all the tanks have been removed as well.
Okay.
The tanks are removed. The supporting structures for those really large tanks are still there. I don't know if that's part of the conditions or not. If not, and we're done.
Yeah, it was Councilmember Running and council members. It was very it was excluded from the conditions on this. They would not allow the pylons, pillars, whatever you want to call them. They just agreed to tank removal, and that was it. But in our discussions, we deemed it sufficient for the city's purposes.
Thanks for the answer, for the information.
This is for Jack. Jack, what's the timetable for demo on that building now? We're gonna get rid of it?
Once we close on it, Nate is already securing demo bids. So we should have those, once closure is completed, within 2 weeks and we can start at that time.
Is there any problem with contaminants on that land or anything?
None that were revealed in the initial, environmental analysis. There'll still have to be an investigation in the building to determine if there's any asbestos in there. We don't suspect that there is because the building was built in 1987.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Nelson, could you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Ronnie,
Aye.
Councilmember Plasan,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel,
Hi.
Mayor Voss.
Aye, and that motion passes. Okay, Jack, now on to item G1.
Thank you. CARES Business Grants Awards. The East Bethel City Council approved a business relief grant program at their September 14th, 2020 meeting. This program will enable the city to utilize CARES Act funds to provide assistance to businesses that suffered disruptions due to the peacetime emergency declarations and executive orders that address the COVID-19 pandemic. Assistance through this program may include costs for current payroll obligations, lease or mortgage payments, utilities, accounts payable, and other critical business expenses that can't be paid as a direct result of the current health emergency. These are federal funds that were allocated to the state of Minnesota and distributed to counties and municipalities on a per capita basis. The city received 3 applications for the for-profit program and 3 applications for the nonprofit program. The city's financial consultant, Ehlers, was retained to review and determine eligibility for the CARES Business Relief Grant Program. Ehlers conducted a review of each application as to the demonstration of economic impact, verification of eligible expenses, and completeness of the request for grant funds. If additional information was necessary for Ehlers to complete the review, the applicant was notified by the city and the applicant given time to supply the missing information. Ehlers conducted an in-depth review of the applicant's ability to document that their business was adversely affected by an executive order related to COVID-19 or experienced a financial hardship as a result of COVID-19. In order to evaluate the eligibility for grant awards, council discussed the time period to determine the profit loss impact due to COVID-19 at the November 2nd, 2020 work meeting. Ehlers' recommendation to state standard, the period between March 1st and June 30th, 2019 versus 2020 was accepted by council. Due to the small number of applicants, there were excess funds totaling $170,000 in the business grant program after the CAP awards for the for-profit and nonprofit programs. City Council discussed methods of allocations of these funds and accepted an equal distribution of this balance to those applicants who have documented expenses to qualify for the additional funds. Ehlers reviewed the grants received by the applicants from Payroll Protection Plan, SBA, Economic Injury Disaster Loans, Anoka County, or other sources, and determined that 4 had expenses over those covered by other assistance. Those businesses and nonprofit had their eligible costs for additional funds are as follows: Slaw Industries Incorporated, Beaverbrook Tri-County Sportsman Inc., Hills Youth and Family Service, and Star of the North Academy. Of the 6 businesses applying for these grants, the 4 applicants listed above have enough eligible expenses for grant proceeds expenditure, which would not result in a duplication of payments for the same expense from other grant monies. No city funds will be used in this program. Council is asked, based on Ehlers' recommendation and council's direction for the allocation of additional grant funds, to consider approval of the grant awards for the Business Relief Grant Assistance Program as follows: Slaw Industries Incorporated, $52,500. Beaverbrook Tri-County Sportsman, $43,902. The Hills Youth and Family Services, $47,500. Star of the North Academy, $47,500. And Innovations Plus, $3,904.
Okay, is there a motion from council?
I'll make a motion for approval of the grant awards for the businesses relief grant assistant program.
Second.
Motion made in second, discussion.
Okay, I'm confused at why Innovation Plus is so low. Is that just all they qualified for with with what they gave? Because I know they asked for a lot more, so I'm confused on that one.
The reason for that award was their eligible expenses would not qualify them for that. And also too, if they exceeded that, they would have been put in a profit position. So that's the only dollars that they were eligible for under this program, with the two major tests that were implemented by Ellers to do that on their profit loss statement from March 1st to June 30th, and their impact of being forced to be closed and operated at 50% capacity. So Ellers is the one that determined that eligibility formula, is because it would put them in a profit position if they exceeded that grant award that's recommended by what's presented in your report.
Okay, because if you look on page 47, when you look at Beaverbrook, and they had a cap award of 1402, and Beaverbrook, Innovation Plus had 3,904, and Beaverbrook ended up getting 43,000, but so I guess that's where my confusion is. If Beaverbrook had a cap of 1402 and they got 43,000, and Innovation Plus had a cap of 3,904, why is there still 3,904? I'm just baffled at how this works, and I understand that they're eligible expenses in the profit, but so Beaverbrook doesn't have that profit
No,
problem?
Beaverbrook had losses of up to additional $82,531 that were documented and verified by Ellers, and Innovations Plus did not have that.
Okay, all right. I see where that came from. Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. I'm glad that city council here could all come together and at least help out some of these businesses. I know it's not a lot of money, but I'm sure this will all help them.
Well, and I think also the fact that we were able to utilize these funds within our community is important, rather than setting back and not using them. So, any other comments? With that, Mr. Nelson, could you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Councilmember Ronin.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance.
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel.
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye, and that motion passes. Item G2.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item 7G2 is the supplemental payment summary that staff is requesting council consider approval. Those payments are for those grants you just awarded or approved, plus an additional invoice that we just received for a truck that's been ordered through this CARES grant program. It was ordered back the 1st of August. So with that sum of money right there, there will be no money to return to the county. We've used it all locally.
Is there a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve the additional CARES Act money for the vehicle.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, just to clarify, it's the vehicle plus the 5 awards we just made.
Do I have to modify?
I'll make a motion to amend to include the 5 CARES Act grants that council has awarded.
Second.
Motion made second. Discussion on the motion to amend. Mr. Nelson, could take roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Councilmember Ronin.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance.
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel.
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye, and that motion to amend passes. Now back to the original motion as amended. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Nelson, could you take roll call vote?
Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Councilmember Ronin.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance.
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel.
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye, And that motion passes. On to staff reports.
I just want to remind council that we do have a meeting on Thursday at 6:30 to canvass the election results. You'll be receiving a packet on that tomorrow. However, it will be partially incomplete due to the fact that we will not receive all the information from the county until possibly Thursday morning as to the final votes that they've tabulated. Their election board does not meet until Wednesday night, so we'll get that out to you as soon as we can. This is a traditional thing that we're required to do, but 6:30 Thursday night, virtual meeting, so we can canvass and approve from our standpoint the results of the 2020 city elections. I'd also like to point out too that during this election, that there were 3,134 absentee ballots submitted in East Bethel. And of these, 1,770 were processed by city staff. This was a very challenging job. It took the time of two of our staff the last 2 weeks, almost their entire job duties. And then from August to the middle of October took a substantial amount of time for one or both of these ladies that performed this duty. And I would also like to point out that this was Carrie Frost and Cindy Hilliard, and I think they did a fantastic job in handling everything that went into this election. And I just want to acknowledge their service and performance. Thank you.
Yeah. On the council reports, Randy.
Yes, last Tuesday, November 3rd was election night, and 2 new council members were elected to council. I want to thank and congratulate Brian Mundell and Shelley Beck. I think we should give them all the support they need to be successful. I would like to thank East Bethel for the last 4 years of stewardship. I am proud of the accomplishments that we have made, and I stand by the oath that I swore 4 years ago to uphold. I did my best to treat everyone with respect and integrity, and I would like to thank city staff, building services, the fire department, and the Anoka County Police for their outstanding service. They are really my true heroes, and I will continue to honor their commitment. It has been an honor to work with this council, and I wish you the wisdom for the continued guidance that you provide. My thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Randy. Tim. You're on mute, Tim. Tim, you're on mute. Tim? You're on mute.
I'm sorry. I just want to say thanks to Randy for this 4 years of service. The city moved forward. He was a big part of it. And I just want to say thank you. And then last Thursday, we had our watershed meeting. We got a cart management project update, Martin and Coon Lake Stormwater retrofit project update. We passed a resolution to adopt the Lower St. Croix Comprehensive Watershed Plan and Joint Powers Agreement. And we passed the East Bethel Local Water Plan. And that's all I got.
Okay, Tom.
I just like to say thanks to Randy for his input and actions this last 4 years. Those were commendable remarks. Very nice. Thank you for that. That's all.
Okay. Suzanne.
I too would like to congratulate Shelley Beck and Brian Mundell. I'd like to thank Randy. It's been a pleasure working with you, but we still got some time. And congratulate Mayor for his reelection. And then I would like to commend the city of East Bethel. I think this city has been phenomenal at coming together during this COVID crisis, helping neighbors, helping neighbors. Just the things I've seen and heard, it just warms my heart. And I'm so thankful I am a resident of this wonderful city.
Okay, and I echo Suzanne's comments too of our community. It is something special to see what our neighbors are doing for each other. And Randy, thank you for your service. You still have a couple months here yet, so and then in January we'll be welcoming Brian and Shelley to council. And also the fact that we had so many candidates this year that were interested in being involved in the city and being involved in the community, and hoping some of those interests all kind of roll over into our commissions when we have openings. So, and other than that, I have nothing else for tonight. So with that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Motion's made in second. Mr. Nelson, can you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Ronin,
Aye.
Councilmember Plassance,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel,
aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye. And with that, our motion passes and our meeting's adjourned. Thank you,